There comes a time when the consequences are too great to ignore. One more step beyond the line, and the regret will be yours to face alone. Patience has its breaking point. Cross the line once more, and regret will be a constant reminder of your actions. It's not about punishing you, it's about teaching you the value of respect. Cross that line again, and regret will follow you. It's not my anger you should fear, but the realization of what you'll lose when you cross that line once more. I've been understanding, I've been patient, but there's a limit. Cross that line again, and you'll regret it when there's nothing left. One more step over the line, and you'll wish you'd never tested my boundaries in the first place. You don't realize the weight of regret until you've crossed a line you can't uncross. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing when to let go. If you cross that line again, you'll regret it, but it will be too late to fix. You may think there are now no consequences, but crossing that line again will prove just how costly your actions really are. I've shown you what patience looks like, but I don't have endless tolerance. Cross that line again, and you'll regret every moment of it. There's a quiet power in knowing when to let go. One more mistake, and you'll see the consequences that come with crossing that line. You may test my limits now, but crossing that line one more time will leave you with nothing but regret. Patience runs out eventually, and when it does, regret will be your only companion. Every action has a consequence, and if you cross that line again, the regret will be deeper than you could ever imagine. I'm not holding on to anger. I'm holding on to respect. Cross that line again, and regret will be all you have left. You've been warned. Cross the line once more, and you'll feel the weight of regret like you never have before. I'm not looking for revenge. I'm looking for respect. Cross that line again, and regret will be the result. Boundaries are meant to protect us, and when you cross them, you only have yourself to blame for the regret that will follow. You might not understand now, but crossing that line again will leave you with nothing but regret. I've been kind, I've been patient, but if you push me too far, regret will be all you have left to hold on to. You've had enough chances to prove you care. Cross that line again, and regret will be the only thing that remains. Respect isn't given lightly, and crossing that line one more time will make you regret not learning sooner. Each time you overstep, it's not just a boundary broken, it's a trust lost. Cross that line again, and regret will be what you carry. Sometimes the lesson you need to learn is one of consequences. Cross the line once more, and you'll regret not realizing it sooner. There's a point where patience gives way to consequences. Cross that line, and regret will teach you everything you need to know. You don't have to fear me, but you should fear the regret you'll feel when you cross that line once more. It's not about being harsh, it's about understanding limits. Cross that line, and you'll regret not respecting them. I've been patient, but there's only so much one can tolerate. Cross that line again, and regret will be the shadow that follows you. Respect is earned, and I've given you chances to prove you value it. One more misstep, and regret will be the only lesson left. Crossing the line may seem harmless in the moment, but it's the regret that will haunt you when you realize what you've lost. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about protecting what matters. Cross that line again, and regret will be all you have left to hold on to. I've given you everything I can, but once you cross that line, there will be no going back. Regret will be your only companion. The moment you cross that line, you're no longer just hurting me, you're hurting yourself. The regret you'll feel will be your constant reminder. You may think you have time, but every step you take over that line brings you closer to a place of regret you won't escape from. Forgiveness has a limit, and crossing that line one more time will remind you of the cost of pushing past it. I don't expect perfection, but respect is non-negotiable. Cross the line again, and regret will show you what happens when boundaries are ignored. It's not about proving you're right. It's about understanding where I stand. Cross that line, and regret will prove how wrong you were. You might think the line doesn't matter, but when you cross it, regret will remind you of just how important it really was. The hardest thing isn't setting boundaries, it's knowing when to stop. Cross that line again, and regret will make the decision for you. Each time you test my limits, you're drawing closer to the edge. Cross that line once more, and regret will be your new reality. Sometimes, the hardest lessons come from the ones we choose not to learn. I've given you enough chances. If you cross that line once more, you will see just how deep regret can go. Every time you push my limits, I find myself questioning whether you truly understand what respect means. One more mistake, and the consequences will be something you'll never forget. You can only test someone's patience for so long before you begin to see the repercussions of your actions. I've tried to be patient, but if you cross that line again, there will be no turning back. The space between forgiveness and regret is narrower than you think. Each time you overstep, you're drawing closer to a place I won't follow. You may think I'll always let things slide, but trust me, there's a breaking point in every situation. Cross that line one more time, and you'll regret ever thinking it was okay. There comes a point where enough is enough. Every choice you make, every step you take, will determine how much of your presence is still welcome. Cross that line again, and it'll be too late. I've been silent long enough, but that silence is a warning. If you continue testing my limits, regret will be your only companion. It's not about anger or frustration, it's about boundaries. I've set them, and if you ignore them once more, the consequences will hit harder than you ever expected. Respect isn't just given, it's earned. Push me too far, and you'll find out that my patience has a limit. The more you disregard my boundaries, the less you'll have to deal with me. Cross that line again, and regret will be a feeling you'll never forget. Sometimes it's not the mistake that hurts the most, but the failure to learn from it. Cross that line again, and you'll see just how far regret can take you. I've given you opportunities to change, but if you keep crossing that line, you'll soon understand that my forgiveness has a limit. Every action has a consequence. Cross that line again, and you'll regret not knowing where my limits truly lie. I've been patient, I've been kind, but there's only so much I can tolerate. Cross that line again, and regret will be a reminder of your actions. No one should ever have to keep forgiving the same mistakes. If you cross that line again, you'll wish you had never tested me. You may not see it now, but crossing that line again will make you wish you had respected the boundaries I've set. You've had your chances, and if you don't realize the value of respect soon, the regret you'll feel will be your own to carry. The hardest part isn't setting boundaries, it's sticking to them. If you cross that line, you'll regret it deeply, and there won't be a second chance. It's not anger that will drive the consequences of your actions, but a quiet understanding of where things could have gone differently if only you respected me. I've been silent because I'm giving you the chance to change. But if you cross that line again, regret will be the only thing left between us. The more you ignore my feelings, the harder it will be to keep the door open for you. One more step beyond the line, and regret will close it forever. I believe in second chances, but not third or fourth. Cross that line again, and you'll understand what it feels like to live with regret. It's not the mistakes that matter most, but the failure to recognize when enough is enough. Cross that line, and regret will be your lesson. You can push me once, you can even push me twice, but crossing that line again will make you regret everything that led you to this point. You don't realize the power of your words and actions until the regret sets in. One more step over that line, and it will be something you can't undo. Every time you cross the line, you lose a little more of the trust I've given you. Keep pushing, and regret will be all that's left. It's not about being harsh, it's about respect. Cross that line again, and you'll find out just how much of me you'll lose. Sometimes it's the small actions that build up the most regret. If you push me past my limits again, you will feel the weight of your decisions. I'm not angry, I'm just aware. Cross that line one more time, and the regret you'll experience will follow you for far longer than you expect. It's easy to forget that every action has a ripple effect. Cross that line again, and you'll see just how far your regret will stretch. You might not see it now, but the moment you cross that line again will be the moment you wish you had never pushed me this far. You might think you can test my patience, but know this, I have a limit, and crossing that line will bring you nothing but regret. Every time you cross my boundaries, it chips away at the trust we've built. Cross it again, and you'll regret ever thinking it was okay.